The film is a romance. It's also about isolation, and the isolation that we all feel. And I think that most of us spend a good deal of our life trying to connect with another person.
You know the only thing that's made the whole thing worthwhile? It's been those few times when I've been able to really, truly connect with another human being.
I had a hunch about you, sir.
You did?
Yes, sir. I had a hunch you might be a real romantic.
This is a man who intends to end his life today. And so it gives an incredible vibrancy and poignance to that day. Rather than it being gloomy and tragic because it's all going to come to an end, the focus is on that vibrancy.
The main message of the film is really to live in the present, to live every day as though it were your last day.
He's given himself a last look and a wonderfully intense last look.
Sometimes the most amazing things in life are the small little things, something someone said to you, the smell of the back of someone's neck, little things in life. Because the small things in our life are really the big things in our life. And I think it's very important to remember that.
What I loved about it is there were just moments of life, just sitting on a sofa having a chat.
It's your turn to change it.
Yeah, I'm not changing it. It's your turn. Besides, you never like what I put on anyway.
I'll give you $5 if you change it. I'm too old to get up.
You're only old when it's convenient for you to be old. It's something just very real, and that's what got me.
I was living in Los Angeles. It was the early 1980s, and I was in my 20s. And I picked up a copy of A Single Man. And something about it just spoke to me. And because of this, I became quickly obsessed with Christopher Isherwood and started reading everything that I could get my hands on by Chris.
I was not familiar with A Single Man. I was familiar with his work, but I didn't know this. And I did know Dom Carty, Chris's boyfriend, because he'd painted me a number of years ago. And while he painted me, he would talk about Chris, and he said this was Chris's ashtray, and this was used on the set of Cabaret, and this was, you know, he had all of these things, kind of totemic things around his house. And it was lovely, clearly a lovely relationship.
This had been Christopher's favorite book. There's as much of Tom in this as there is in Christopher Isherwood, I think.
Christopher's portrayal of what life was like if you were gay, because most of his stories were autobiographical, was very matter of fact. You know, he didn't really make a big deal out of it. The characters were never struggling to deal with their homosexuality. It was never an issue, necessarily, in his stories. But the characters simply were gay. And for me, this is very modern, especially at the time that his books were written.
I have not done anything to my performance to suggest gay, whatever that would be.
For me, it was very important to depict George and Jim's relationship in a very matter-of-fact way.
What could be better than being tucked up here with you? I mean, if I died right now, it'd be okay.
Well, it wouldn't be okay with me. So why don't you shut up and go and change the record?
Good answer. It's a story about relationships, and it's also set in the past, so it's not necessarily commenting on how things are today.
If my character was played by a girl, then it would be
then it would be exactly the same story and the characters would have exactly the same connection. So I don't think it makes any difference if it's two guys or two girls or a man and a woman.
It's almost entirely irrelevant. It's just a love story. It's plain and simple.
All three of our principal characters are going through a change of life. George is going from his middle age to his older years. He can't see his future. He can't really figure out what the next phase of his life is going to be.
George's fate is no different from anybody else's.
George has decided to kill himself, and because of this, he goes through this day in an entirely different way.
When he decides to kill himself, is that actually he starts to live for the first time in years.
When George looks at things, he's looking at them as though it's the last time he's going to see them, and we understand this feeling of beauty that he feels.
It doesn't depress me, or it's not gloomy to me at all.
We shot the film in 21 days. Colin is in literally every scene of the film. So he had absolutely no downtime, and he was incredible.
Colin was great. He's really somebody I look up to. I've got a lot of respect for him. It was great to watch him, how he brought George to life, and he really helped me in the fact that, you know, watching him, I just really care about him.
Colin's face is amazing. He can make you feel what he's feeling. All of a sudden, his face can just transform. I would hold the camera on him, and actually it was hard to take the camera off because just when I would get ready to say, cut, something new would happen in his face and in his eyes. It was really incredible.